Steve, when you were playing the series, could you have imagined it going much better than the way it has?
Probably not. I think the guys did an exceptional job. Right from our camp in Dubai, the guys turned up and wanted to find ways to be successful here. And I think every individual found a method that worked. Everyone stood up at different times throughout this series and did a terrific job. The batters found methods that they were able to survive with and put pressure on the bowlers with, and everyone was different. That was the beauty of it. So, and then the spinners, I thought, did a tremendous job, and Mitchell Starc did a tremendous job. So, it was a great series to be a part of. I think we've learnt so much about playing in the subcontinent, and we put all that into play out here in the last two games, and it's been great to witness.
And just on your elbow, you looked in discomfort out there. How was it?
Yeah, it's all right. I threw one when I shouldn't have. There was nothing on, but it's hard to, when you're in the moment, pull yourself back. But no, it's better than it was a couple of weeks ago after the Big Bash, so pretty sure it'll be a pretty quick recovery.
Steve, I know you haven't got many tests like coming up in South Asia in the next year, but is the kind of strategy that you've had here, to have a lot of spinners, to have a lot of bowling options, slow bowling options, and the way you batted as well, has that kind of become the blueprint for the way you play in this part of the world now?
I mean, you've got to attack every surface how it needs to be played on, I suppose, and I think that's what we've done really well. We obviously left out Todd for this one, which was unfortunate for him, but we wanted a little bit of extra batting, thinking that the wicket was going to be really extreme from the start of play. It probably wasn't quite as extreme as we thought it was going to be, I'd say, but I think everyone that came on and bowled did a really good job. Even Webster yesterday to get the breakthrough at that stage was really important, and then the last one today. So I think we had a really well balanced squad, plenty of options available at our for whatever we wanted to go with, and everyone that played did a good job.
Steve, is there one thing or a few things from, say, the other or previous subcontinental tours that you think you picked and you did better as a team in this series?
Yeah, I think to when we came here in 2016, there was a few of us in that change room that were here then. I think we're just far better equipped to play in these conditions and understand them a lot more than we used to. I think as batters in particular, the way we've been able to put pressure on the bowlers through all different ways. I come down the wicket or sit back. Alex and Inglis and Usman use the sweep, reverse sweep. Marnus uses his feet. A few others I'm missing there, but everyone's got different methods, but it's a method that works for them. And there's obviously, you've got to try and survive. It can be challenging, but sometimes the best way to do that is by just putting pressure on and rotating the strike well and having different options to get down the other end. So I thought the guys did it as well as I've seen an Australian team do it in the subcontinent since I've been playing.
Hi Steve. What are your thoughts on the tour as a tour track generally, and would the team like to tour here in the future?
I think so. I think we've really enjoyed our time here. It's a beautiful place to come and play cricket. I mean, the hospitality's been wonderful. I think the wickets have been really good for cricket, exciting to play on, and I think everyone's really enjoyed their time.
Yeah. Steve, you mentioned everyone doing it slightly differently. You did play a few sweeps and reverses in your innings. Can you talk us through what was going through your head there? And I think Alex mentioned something about looking after your teeth.
Yeah, probably not wise to do without a helmet on, but I just felt it was the right shot at the right time, I suppose. The field was right, and it's obviously not my first option to go that way, but particularly in I actually put my helmet on at one stage and started sweeping a bit. I thought the rough on the offside for the off spinner was getting quite quite thick and there was a bit going on. I felt a little bit threatened there, so it was the reason why I sort of started sweeping a little bit more. So, I was just putting the percentages in my favour, I suppose, which is, part of batting in these conditions as well.
And more broadly, obviously, you're now putting together a sequence where you, I suppose, back in that line and being able to, make 100, then make another 100, and do that a little bit more often. You haven't done that for a couple of years. How has that felt?
Oh, I mean, it's been nice to contribute for sure. I think even when I wasn't getting, the runs that I wanted, I was still saying to all you guys that I was actually batting quite nicely. Things can turn around quickly, a bit of luck. First innings in the first test here, I got dropped on one and then went on to make it count. Another day I get caught and we're not having this same conversation. So, there's certainly a lot of luck involved, particularly in these conditions, and even in the conditions back home with the amount of seam movement there's been there. So, you certainly need some luck, and I've had a little bit of that, and you got to make the most of it, which I've done, I suppose, in the last little bit. So no, it's been nice to contribute to some wins and get some good runs on the board.
And just lastly, what's the situation with the captaincy for the Champions Trophy? Obviously, you go straight into white ball mode basically tomorrow. Where has that got to?
We'll name that.
You know what? I haven't. Yeah, I actually don't. I wouldn't have a clue.
Remember?
You mentioned that you thought you were still batting well. So 12 months since the end of the New Zealand trip. But is there something in that period that, in your mind, would crystallise that it was coming back? Was it a moment or a training session or a shot or something when you thought, or you always just knew that it was just a matter of time?
I can't pinpoint anything. I just felt like I was batting nicely, and I don't know, just getting some time in the middle maybe. As soon as you get that sort of one good score, you get a bit of a read on some bowlers that you're facing, and I don't know, you just feel a bit more comfortable. The old saying, there's nothing like time in the middle. So I think that for me was the Gabba, I suppose. To get a big one there, I sort of started to feel just comfortable, just facing a lot of balls and getting a bit of rhythm. So other than that, I can't really put it down to anything other than just having faith in what I was doing in practice and trusting it, and knowing that the game ebbs and flows. You can have days where the luck's not on your side, and then, as I said before, you have a bit of luck, and then you got to make the most of it.
Steve, I think 6 Aussie batters crossed 50 across the series, and then 5 went on to hundreds, and obviously Carey and Elijah went on even further on tracks that are hard to bat on. How vital is it that when you get those starts, you do that?
Oh, I mean, it was great to see plenty of triple-digit scores. Just the way guys were able to cash in once they got in was great. Those wickets are tough to start on. Regardless of where you're batting, it's difficult to start your innings. But when you start to get the pace of the wicket and what it's doing and how it's responding, and you get into a partnership, things get a little bit easier. And then you see so often you lose one wicket, the next guy comes in, the batter that's in's a little bit unsettled, and the new batter's obviously starting their innings. Things can happen really quickly. So, when you do have those partnerships going, you've got to make them count. And Uzi and I in the first test, and then Alex and I in the second test put on really large ones, which certainly helped. And then there were other partnerships throughout as well that were, guys chipped in and did really well. So, I couldn't be prouder of the group the way we've gone about it here.
Steve, we know you've straight batted us the last few times we've asked about India in 2027, but when you play like that this series, there's a possibility of potentially playing another series in the subcontinent, potentially. Exciting.
I don't know. I'm just taking it day by day at the moment. We'll see where everything's at, but I'm enjoying it at the moment. So keep playing, keep enjoying it, and take it day by day.
And just on Clifford Connolly, obviously we probably didn't get to see the best of him in this Test debut. Where do you see him, I guess, in future, figuring into selection conversations? We know there's going to be a lot of chat about batting orders and things like that, but where might another opportunity present itself for him?
I mean, that's a good question. You know, we've got some pretty good batters in the side at the moment that have done a good job for a long period of time. And look, we saw in this game we wanted some extra batting, a guy that could bowl a few overs, and you know, I perhaps could have used him a few more overs throughout. But you know, a lot of the bowlers did a really good job too. So. Look, he's a talented young kid. He's got a really bright future. Everywhere he's played so far, he's stood up and done a good job. You know, it was a pretty tricky time to come out and bat, I suppose. In the first innings, he was, you know, trying to be quite aggressive and try and get that lead as high as we could. But yeah, look, he's got a bright future. There's no doubt in that.
And just finally, Marnus, obviously the runs probably weren't there to begin the series, but looked a little bit more comfortable there in that final chase. You hopeful that we'll see in that order for the World Test Championship final?
Yeah, I mean, I think Marn's similar to me in a way throughout the summer. I think he's actually batting quite nicely. You know, and there's a difference between, I've said this a lot of times about myself, there's a difference between being out of form and out of runs. And you know, we've seen Marnus do it. We know he can do it. I don't think he's out of form personally. I've watched him train, I've watched him play, and a lot of the things that he's done so well are there. You know, a little bit of luck here and there, and you know, things can turn around pretty quickly. So, yeah, we know what he's capable of, and yeah, he knows he'd love to score more runs. We'd love him to score more runs, but you know, it's in my opinion, it's just around the corner.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.